Before there's a call to order, I have to administer the oaths of office to the new members of council. Councillor-elect Romela Glorioso is already sworn in, therefore she's already Councillor Glorioso. We'll start with Mayor-elect Hewitt. Do you read from this and wish? Yep.
I, Susan Hewitt, do solemnly affirm that I am qualified to hold the office of mayor for the village of Kaslo, to which I have been elected. I have not, by myself or any other person, knowingly contravened the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the community charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect pecuniary interest I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect of the matter.
Councillor Holland.
I, James Holland, do solemnly affirm that I am qualified to hold the office of councillor of the village of Kaslo, to which I have been elected. I do not by myself or any other person knowingly contravene the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the community charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect pecuniary interest I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect of the matter.
And to Councillor-elect Lang.
I, Robert Lang, do solemnly affirm that I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the village of Kaslo, which I've been elected. I have not by myself or any other person knowingly contravened the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the community charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect pecuniary interest I have in the matter and will not participate in discussion of that and will not vote in respect of that matter.
And to Councillor-elect Noel.
I, Kelly Noel, do solemnly affirm that I am qualified to hold the office of councillor for the village of Kaslo, which I have been elected. I have not, by myself or any other person, knowingly contravened the Local Government Act respecting vote buying or intimidation in relation to my election to the office. I will faithfully perform the duties of my office and will not allow any private interest to influence my conduct in public matters. As required by the community charter, I will disclose any direct or indirect pecuniary interest I have in a matter and will not participate in the discussion of the matter and will not vote in respect of the matter.
Mayor Hewitt.
My one time I'll use the gavel. We'll call this meeting to order. Welcome, everyone, to the first meeting of the Council of the end of 2014. So I guess we start with inaugural addresses, and I go first. So good evening to council, staff, and the public. Hi, Romella. Okay, I'd like to open by expressing my appreciation to Greg Lay, who served as mayor for the past 6 years, and to Molly Leithwood, who served as a councillor for the past 12 years. It has been a pleasure to work with you both. And I'd like to welcome our 2 new members of staff, Jerry Austin, who's our accounts clerk, and Daphne Hunter, our office clerk, as well as to congratulate Stephanie Patience to her promotion, for her promotion to deputy clerk. I'd also like to recognize our CAO, Neil Smith, who keeps the office running smoothly, and our public works staff, Glenn Walker, Cam Wilson, Gord Rempel, and Paul Kelly, and also Jason Turner in the summer. And I'd like to thank the citizens of Kaslo for allowing me to serve our wonderful community as a councillor for the past 10 years and providing me with the honor of continuing my service as mayor for the next 4 years. Looking around the table tonight and at the screen, I'm very proud to be working with this group of people. I feel confident that given our backgrounds and our complementary skill sets, we can help move Kaslo forward. I encourage you to listen and be respectful of each other's points of view when making decisions. If something is unclear to you, don't hesitate to ask questions of staff or your fellow councillors. And in closing, I'd like to again say that I'm looking forward to working with you all for the next 4 years. Anybody else want to?
Well, next on the list, sure. The mayor said it very well. I concur.
Councillor Noel?
Sure, I'll go ahead. Well, I just want to take this moment again to say how excited I am to be here, and I want to also take this moment to promise that I will do my best, speak fairly and truthfully, and be a voice for the people of this village. Thank you.
Councillor Lang?
Yeah, I too would like to thank the staff that we have currently assembled here tonight. I think the fact that we have such an outstanding group of people working for the village in a large way influenced my decision to run again. I am very hopeful that with this group we can accomplish great things in this community, and it certainly won't be for a lack of support if we fail to accomplish much. So I'm looking forward to working with the staff, and I'm certainly looking forward to working with the balance of council. We've got a lot of decisions to make in the next 3 to 4 months, and it's going to be challenging times, so let's all pitch together and do our best.
Thank you, everyone, and it's unfortunate that we can't hear Councillor Glorioso, but she'll join us at the table in January. So we'll get into business. What's that?
If you want her to be voting, we did send her an email. I don't know how appropriate that is.
Oh,
For a
okay.
thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Oh, okay.
She can also send text messages via Skype.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if she's got that email that we just tried to send her or not, or if she can hear me talking, mentioning that. Just, she is getting electronic, so she has to. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm fine with
Just because I'm just looking for those two.
Which one did you want?
Robin, I was.
Okay.
Someone put it that they already.
It was mentioned to me.
Okay.
That was mentioned.
You didn't change it on the agenda, my apologies.
That's okay.
Okay, we got that confirmed, sorry.
Someone want to keep an eye on the Here, quick. We get any responses?
Yes, I can.
Thanks.
Okay.
So
She can signal, so she'll be able to vote. Yeah, you might want to speak up for her, folks.
Okay. All right, we'll move on. The appointments for acting mayor. And the recommendation is that the position of deputy or acting mayor shall be served by the following councillors during the following terms. Councillor Lang for the term of December 2014 to February 2015. Councillor Holland for March 2015 to May 2015. Councillor Knoll for the term of June 2015 to August 2015, and Councillor Glorioso for the term of September 2015 to November 2015. So that's what's being appointing, or is it, it says resolution? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Move.
Okay, moved by Councillor Lang, seconded by Councillor Holland. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion's carried.
And Ramella raised her hand.
Thank you, Ravella. All right, the next item is the appointment of the municipal director to the Regional District of Central Kootenai. And this is one that council appoints with a member to the position and an alternate. So I'll entertain any motions from the floor, from the council.
Well, I guess I'll try one. A preamble to the motion would be that I would have maintained a principle that it should be the mayor that represents the village of Caswell at the regional district. That's the most ideal situation. But that has to be tempered by the availability or the workload that would be appropriate for the mayor. I would like to suggest that possibly it might be prudent for the mayor to have some support or relief in the first year around the workload that could be required and what her limitations might be in fulfilling that. So I'm going to move that the mayor be the alternate for the first year of the term, to allow some time for her to integrate in the position and make sure that it works well for her.
Point of order, we're talking about the directorship, are we not the alternate?
It says the position with an alternate, so
But there's no need, it won't go further than like seconds for discussions.
okay, hearing no seconder, the motion dies.
So that I never got.
Okay, so there's no motion. Entertain any other motions?
Yeah, I've got
I'll
Marilla,
move.
sorry. I have Ramella stating, I think the motion should be two separate parts, is her comment. And she's typing right now. Excuse us. I think the motion should be two, one for representative and one for alternate, is her suggestion. I don't know if that's, would be relayed as a motion set out there that you, or that you
I
do
believe
as two parts. It's just a
Councillor
comment.
Holland's motion was just to
So that would be a
appoint
point
me
of
as
order
alternate.
then.
So I'll try a second motion. I'll move that the mayor be appointed to the regional district directorship.
Second for discussion.
Councillor Lang?
Yeah, I'm just wanting to hear from the mayor how many meetings she thinks she could make, because if you're accept the position as director, like on a percentage basis, what do you think would be, appropriate or not meetings?
I don't know what all the meetings are yet, so it's sort of hard for me to anticipate that. The month of April will be problematic for me. It's almost impossible. I did have further discussions with my employer today, and that is the busiest season. So April for me would be out, so the alternate would be called upon at that time. And, if there were other times that I could not make it, I would give my alternate ample notice that I would be absent.
Well, it's always been my position that the mayor should represent the village at the regional district. I've stated that since first coming on council, and I'm not moving off that position, so.
Any discussion?
I would agree with that.
So, is there any further discussion? Councillor Glorioso?
Nope. She's waving her head no.
Okay, so I'll call the question. All those in favor? Okay, motion is carried.
So I'll try another motion then. I'll move that Kelly Noel be the alternate regional district director.
No seconder.
I'll motion that Rob Lang be the alternate.
Seconded that? Could,
I have Romella typing.
okay.
Who is she saying? Can you repeat that louder? Kelly Noel, can you hear me? Councillor Noel?
Yes. Rob Lang.
I have, yes, I'd rather you guys confirm that. So yes, Romella to Rob Lang as a second. You seconding that? Yes, I heard, yes, she heard me. So yes.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Okay, so that's myself as director and Councillor Lang as the alternate. All right. And the appointment of the West Kootenai Hospital District Director.
So I'll move that the mayor be the West Kootenai representative of the hospital board. Next month.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
And again,
Rob, you need to pick up all the gentlemen.
sorry about that. Just a question on availability, and that's all. Do you think you could?
They're evening meetings.
Okay, I'm just.
And they're quarterly meetings, correct? That's the hospital board?
Maybe a little more.
A little more.
So that was moved and seconded. Okay. All right. So any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion's carried. All right, and committee chair appointments. So committee of the whole will be the designated acting mayor, And the Committee of the Whole Finance will be myself. And I'm suggesting if council is interested in having a standing committee that will oversee the Kemble and City Hall building management, for suggesting projects and working with staff and our contractor in regard to those buildings. And resident appointments to committees will be made on an ongoing basis. So right now, we're just going to choose to see if there's any council members who are willing to sit on a committee looking after buildings. Councillor Lang?
Do we have to establish the committee before we make appointments to it by resolution?
You can make a chair.
Because I certainly think it's a good idea to have that committee, and I'm certainly willing to sit on it as well. I'm not necessarily as chair, but I'm certainly willing to participate.
So,
Councillor Holland?
yeah, I was just going to point out that the mayor appoints and creates standing committees. They're not, it's not a, okay. I thought you
Right.
said it's a suggestion, but it's.
Well, yeah, if there's no interest in any council member sitting in it, it's quite pointless, right? And I'd like them to be involved because
You make
I've
the
sat through.
point.
Okay, so,
You make the point, it's not a matter of
Sorry.
interest, you get to the point.
okay.
Yeah.
So Councillor Lang has expressed interest. I'd like people to be working on the committee that want to be on the committee and will be committed to working on, and showing up at the meetings. So that's my reasoning behind asking, if there was any interest. So at this point, so Councillor Lang and I'd also be interested on sitting on that committee. Well, I'm an ex officio on each of them anyhow, aren't I? So, yeah. All right. And Councillor Noel, would you be interested?
Not really.
All right. So, well, there's the two of us, and we'll work. Councillor Lang, you and I will meet with the CAO then and see if we can come up with some public members for that committee. Thank you. Okay, council appointments to other committees. Public Arts Select Committee. But either Councillors Holland and Knoll expressed interest in that committee.
Well, I'll make a motion that council establish a public arts select committee with appointees from the village of Kaslo being, or from council being Councilors Holland and Councilor Nutt.
Second that.
Any discussion?
Have you done this before?
What's that? Yeah.
You don't, okay. That's all they need to know.
That's a brand new committee.
Was Brandon?
Brand new, first
Oh,
time.
great, fantastic.
Out the gate.
Okay.
So, all those in favor? Motion is carried. The Castle and Area D Health Select Committee, Councillors Lang and Glorioso.
I'd like to make a motion that my name be struck and Councillor Knowles' name be substituted on that committee.
Is that acceptable to you?
I accept that.
Well, let's do an order. Let's have a motion that Kaslo, Village Council establish a Kaslo and Area D Health Select Committee. And part of that motion could be.
Right, I thought that committee was already in
I
existence.
guess we've got to reaffirm it.
Oh, we have to reaffirm it, okay, got it.
Yeah, so,
I have Ramella typing, I think. Oh, she can no longer hear. I can't
You
hear.
guys are speaking a little bit lower.
So,
oh, okay.
louder, Ramella?
It's fine. Enter.
I'm interested in that committee. She's appointed to it. Do you want to just reconfirm that she's was placed as an appointment. Is
Yes.
that? Yes.
Okay. So, any discussion?
So do we need a recommendation at this point?
That's Councillor Holland, I think, moved that. Did you not?
Sure.
Okay, so with Councillors Noel and Glorioso. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, and the recommendation then is that the Village of Kaslo establish a utilities coordination committee with Councillor Lang as representative.
Second.
You-
Oh, I motion that?
I'm recommending, yes.
I recommend that.
Yeah, you would make the motion. I'm
Okay.
recommending that motion be made, so.
I'll get this thing with.
Yeah, that's okay. So moved by Councillor Noel.
Can I second it? I can't I? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Seconded by Councillor Lang. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, motion's carried. Okay, and that recommend that the following, that the Village of Kaslo form the Kaslo Recreation Select Committee with Mayor Hewitt and Councillor Lang as members.
So moved.
Second for discussion.
Councillor Lang?
I would like to have my name taken off that committee, and I think it's starting to appear on too many committees already, so I think that would be one that I could step off if there was interest from another council.
Councillor Noel, is that one that you were interested in?
Yeah, I was interested in that. I'm kind of in the same boat of how many I have on here, but why not? Just, I'll get added to that.
And Romella is typing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm interested. That's
Okay.
what Romella said.
So that one only meets twice a year.
Oh, that's only twice.
Yes,
I can
it's
manage that.
it's a spring and a fall.
Okay. I can be involved too.
So then we've got,
You've had 3 councillors on that committee before. I don't know. Romella's saying she's interested,
okay,
so just so you know.
so then we would have Mayor Hewitt, Councillors Noel and Glorioso.
I'm good with that.
Okay, all right. So any further discussion? All those in favor? Okay.
And she's just got a bit of a time lag, guys.
Okay.
So you'll see her hand go up. I'm hoping. It has been going up, but just seconds later. So all those in favor? Yeah. She
So
raised her
motion
hand.
is carried. All right, and recommendation is that that we establish a liquid waste management plan steering committee. Moved by Councillor Lang. Was there a seconder for that motion? Not to form the committee even?
I think it's work that can be handled by the committee of the whole. At this point, I don't anticipate that it's that large, but I mean, if somebody else wants to go.
I'll second it.
If we're going to undertake other second and third phases of the plan, it might be good to have a committee.
And I agree that it's hugely significant that it should probably involve all of council, which is, I'm thinking committee of the whole, otherwise you just want to create a committee for all of council on it, so why not just do it through committee of the whole? It's a huge project. But that's just my personal feeling. Somebody else
So it
may-
was moved and seconded, so discussion, Councillor Lang?
Well, I did sit on the prior committee previous, actually before I was elected to council the first time, and I thought the committee did serve a useful function, and what they did was they got into a little bit of the minutia and some of this stuff. But obviously, they're going to have to report to council at the end of the day with some recommendations. I mean, it's not that council's abdicating any responsibility here, it's just an opportunity. And it's also an opportunity to get some of the public involved that may be directly or indirectly affected by any sewer expansion. So I think if for no other reason, it's worthwhile that we get that public engagement proponent going.
Sounds like you're interested.
I am interested.
And it also may take some of then it won't take away from other council business, that committee of the whole, because that could start to consume quite a bit of time, because I do recall that you had quite a few meetings during the first phase, so. So that was moved and seconded to form the committee. So any further discussion? Okay. So all those in favor? Motion's carried. And so then recommendation to appoint Councillor Lang to that committee. Moved by Councillor Knoll. Seconded by Councillor Lang.
I wouldn't mind having somebody else from council on that committee. I don't necessarily want to go alone, but it depends on people's time commitments and where their interests lie.
I guess,
Talk louder.
pardon me?
I'm just talking. You
I'm
need
just
to-
wondering if Romello would like to sit on that committee.
And she's typing. Yes, thanks.
Great.
So
We want to amend the motion then to include Councillor Glorioso. Can I make the motions?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, yeah, you're fine with that? Okay, all right. And seconder is fine with that? So all those in favor? Motion's carried. Okay, and that the members of the hiring and bargaining committee, they were myself and Councillor Lang. You move that? Moved by Councillor Lang.
Second that?
Second.
Well, again, I'm wondering,
Okay.
maybe the discussion, so that's only with the,
Right, I get it.
Sorry.
So we've obviously just done hiring, but there will be, before this term of office is over, we will go through another bargaining session. So there's no harm in having that committee established.
and
it just won't be active
Yeah,
until years from now. Okay.
Councillor Lang?
If somebody else would like to be on that committee, I'm quite okay with stepping aside. If somebody else would, feels that I've had my opportunity and would like to take my place, I'm okay with that. But barring no takers, I'll leave my name stand.
No, we had a mover and a seconder for that. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Okay. Motion's carried. And recommend that we form a Sustainable Economic Development Committee.
I'll move that. With Councilors Holland and Glorioso, reappointed.
Second that?
Seconded by Councillor Knoll. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Motion's carried. And we'll move on to council liaison appointments. So for the Community Forest Society, Kootenai Lake Historical Society, those appointments will be made prior to the AGM. The Community Forest would like to have a joint session to determine who the appointment would be, so it would be somebody who would be, a suitable, someone with suitable background and would be a contributing member. And but these are all, so liaison appointments to local societies, boards, or other organizations that can be held by a member of council or a designated resident. There are no appointments to those boards. So we don't appoint to the boards. You sit in an ex officio capacity. You can attend meetings and provide information and bring information back to council, but you're not a member of their board. And so there's only one on this list, or two, that are members of council that it cannot be a community member. So, one of them, the first one is the Kaslo and Area D Emergency Preparedness. So we need a delegate and an alternate. And no one had expressed interest at this point.
I've got no raising your hand and typing. I'm interested.
If I could, this is functionally a service, regional district service between Area D and Kaslo. It makes a certain amount of sense for the municipal director to be at that table in those discussions, because there's a lot that happens between the area director and that committee around things that happen. It's sort of illogical if typically those meetings are 4:30 in the afternoon. So just I would tentatively make a motion that the Kaslo municipal director be included in that if she has the time or willingness or whatever.
I guess the only problem with that is that I've set up a standing meeting with the CAO to go over recommendations for meetings, and that will be on Wednesdays. So that could quite likely be a conflict with the village business. So
Their dates will be flat. I'm sure that it's up. Just, I guess it's more of a comment, but I'm not making a motion.
okay, I would accept that if somebody wanted to make the motion, but
Well, then
there does
I'll
need
move-
to be an alternate.
Yeah, I'll move that the mayor be the delegate for the Kaslo Area D Emergency Preparedness Committee.
Seconded by Councillor Lang. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? And we have an alternate. This must be a member of council.
That's where Romella said she was interested, I believe. She typed that. You might want to reaffirm that.
So I'll move that Councilor Glorioso be the alternate to the Kaslo Area D Emergency Preparedness Committee.
Seconded by Councillor Lang. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion's carried. Okay. The Kaslo and Area Regional Facilities, Recreation and Park Service Commission, and we have Councillor Knoll down for that. Moved by Councillor Lang, seconded by Councillor Holland. Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, motion's carried. And Kaslo Golf Club, appointment endorsed prior to the AGM. Councillor Lang?
Our AGM was last Wednesday.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
If I have to stay on until the next AGM, I guess that's fine by me, but I'm okay with being the liaison for what it's worth.
moved by Councillor Lang that he be the representative and seconded by Councillor Knoll. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion's carried. Kaslo and District Arena Association. I think their AGM is that in March or April? And that is Molly Leithwood. So we'll be in touch with them. Kaslo Housing Society, we've had no one express interest in that, although I don't know how active that group has been. Okay. Treaty Advisory Committee would be myself. Someone would be willing to make that motion. Councillor Lang?
Second for discussion. So who is and where is and what is the treaty advisory committee? Where does this come from?
That's essentially run committee that deals with regional treaty matters, particular treaty groups. Local government representatives are very occasionally asked if they want to participate in teleconferences and meetings to discuss these. When these meetings occur, they're highly confidential, but they don't happen very often. I think I've seen one occur since I arrived in Castle. It's usually the mayor or in the case of regional districts, the chair that is running these meetings.
Is moved by Councillor Lang. Seconded by Councillor Knoll. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion's carried. The next one, ABC voting delegate and alternate. Those are just chosen in usually July when we know who's going to the UBCM conference. And the last one we've got is the Chamber of Commerce, and the recommendation that Councillor Knoll be the liaison. Moved by Councillor Holland, seconded by Councillor Lang. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion's carried. And attached is the regular council and committee of the whole meeting schedule for 2015. And so that will be.
I'll move for discussion the committee of the whole 2015 meeting schedule. Regular council and committee of the whole meeting schedule.
Okay, moved by Councillor Holland for discussion, seconded by Councillor Lang.
So,
Councillor Holland?
I'm curious about the months of July and August, where the meetings are at call of mayor or acting mayor. Why is that?
Well, the meetings can still be held. It's simply a quieter time of the year. People tend to be on vacation at that time. We're a fairly busy time of year this year. If you wish 2 meetings in both of these months as well, we can have.
That was mostly because the second meeting of committee of the whole was strictly finance. So that would be why it would be more at the discretion of the mayor or the acting mayor if there appears to be a need there would probably always be one meeting. It's just whether we would have two is in question, I think.
Thank you.
So, any further discussion? All those in favor? Motion's carried. And being no further business,
Could I just try one thing that I would like to go ahead and get this in if I could. I need to ask for your indulgence. If we could go back to council appointments to other municipal committees just for a moment. I neglected to ask for a motion to reappoint the current members of the Sustainable Economic Development Committee to that committee. They've all requested to continue to participate. So if I would move that, if there's a second, let me speak to that.
can you list the names of those appointees?
It's actually, it's the terms of reference for the SETS committee is by group.
Okay.
So you'll have, though those committee members can still stand forward,
Okay.
it is by chamber, different.
All right.
It's not by individuals.
Okay.
And so unless you change your terms of reference.
But they still need to be appointed or not, or just to?
You're
Just
going to
by-
create a terms of reference for those for all your select committees, you'll have as terms of reference.
So when we've adopted this sustainable committee, then we've also adopted the standing terms of reference. So it's done.
So we've just made the resolution to form the committee. If we want to amend the terms of reference, that can be done.
I mean, there's a pending meeting if there's still members, and they're trying to get a report finalized by the end of December, so it's a little bit time.
Councillor Lang,
But isn't that committee still in effect
until the end.
until the end of December?
Yes. Current committee appointments go on until December 31st of this year.
Well, we just appointed it now, so this is in effect in January? Or should this have been done in January?
Your resolution's content.
So there's no end dates on any of these community appointments either, is that?
You put an end date on it. You can say reappointed to a term or reappointed to a year. Because you review this, I think.
The terms of reference state when the committee ends and begins. And I think it does go to the end of the year, Jim, for the sets.
Yeah, okay.
And then you guys staff would draw up the new select committee's terms of reference, and it would go to you guys to,
The new resolution trumps that.
Yes.
So maybe there's not some, maybe a little more clarity on this for the next meeting or something. And the second, I was just going to ask if it would be possible that we work on a policy for electronic participation where we make, I'm going to suggest that we make audio be the priority, and that if audio is not available, I would suggest that it's not a practical way to entertain electronic participation. I think that's more important than the video. I'm finding that this is a little bit of a challenging, I mean, it's okay if we're doing it tonight, but I think audio has to be the challenging. It's much more standard to have someone hooked in by a phone link than it is, I mean, the Skype or the video is wonderful if you can do that, but I think audio needs to be the problem. So maybe staff could, maybe we could see about a policy, if council thinks that. That's all.
If there's no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Lang. All those in favor? Motion's carried. All right. Okay. You're still Director Shadrach.
I have supplied a list of names of people who want to continue to serve on the Health Select Committee. I hope that you will appoint those people at the your meeting on the 9th, if that's.
Thank you for that. Thanks, Ramella, for joining us. Hopefully you can get to sleep.
We did have audio earlier, right? We don't know what's happening.
What time is it where Manoa is?
Somewhere late. We also have a policy around electronic meetings, so we would just enhance that policy. Yeah. Thanks, 5 a.m., she's saying.
5 a.m.?
Would you like a cookie?